I often tell people when they want to talk about China and the Arctic, I say, let's first talk about Korea.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the remarkable contribution Korea is making is indeed very impressive. I think your country is the only one in the world which has a 30-year plan for the Arctic and the polar region. I believe the title is the Korean Polar Strategy 250 or something.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so 2050. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, your research institute in Seoul is extraordinarily impressive. I never forget my visit to it, with over 200 scientists. Mm-hmm. And now you announced you're building yet another research vessel, an icebreaker. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we will be hard put in the Arctic states to keep up with Korea in the capabilities in the Arctic in the years to come. And I just wanted to draw the attention of the audience to this growing, formidable role of Korea in the Arctic, demonstrated by the presence of His Excellency here today. So the floor is open for any questions. Yes, please, let's take one here in the middle. Yes. Please stand up and state your name. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Yue Wang from Tampere University in Finland. Actually, my question is about South Korea, China, and Japan. As we all know, those three countries as non-Arctic actors. And so I just wonder, what do you think the cooperation and competition between China, South Korea, and Japan in the Arctic? For example, there are regular trilateral high-level dialogue among these three countries, but we couldn't see, solid progress, cooperation progress. Yes. So I just want to know how you think about the competition and the cooperation between the three East Asian countries in the Arctic. Thank you.
Yes. Before I answer to your question, let me briefly touch upon the background for the reference of the whole. Korea, China, and Japan are batchy friends who joined the Arctic Council as an observer in 2013. And in 2015, the three leaders, the President of Korea and the Prime Minister of China and Prime Minister of Japan, they got together for a summit meeting in Seoul. And then they agreed on many things, and in particular on cooperation in the Arctic Council. And then since then, four what is called high-level, the trilateral high-level dialogue have been held so far. And then they address a range of issues, including the scientific, the researches, and Northern Sea route, and development of the energies and infrastructures. Also, the issues, including the fisheries. And then, of course, during this high-level dialogue, we put aside the geopolitical issues. We focus on the scientific and the technical issues. But unfortunately, because of due to pandemic crisis over the past 2 years, we didn't have the meeting. But definitely, we, as a team of Northeast Asian countries, we really would like to make a contribution to the development the Arctic area, because as I said in my speech, the Arctic is unique and irreplaceable.
Okay, great. Any more? Yes, at the very back. If you can rush up to the very back, yes.
My name is Kritika Singh. I work at the University of Lapland. I'm an Arctic governance researcher. My question is, does Korea see any opportunity of collaboration or cooperation with other non-Arctic states? For instance, for capacity development and exchange of information. So all the work that Korea is doing with indigenous peoples and SDGs, also in shipping, ice-breaking capacity, so training of shippers for icy waters. And a related question is on the work with indigenous peoples. You also mentioned like SDGs. what are the sectors, different sectors in which you see sort of future work happening? You mentioned health already, but which other sectors of work with indigenous peoples?
Yes, so at this stage, I'd like to confess that the project regarding the indigenous people, it is just starting, and then we haven't gone that far. But we are now working on the project, what we can do for the indigenous people, and then perhaps in the field of public health and the HR, the human resource development, perhaps we can make a contribution to the development of the indigenous the community. And then we also invite, just for your reference, we also invite indigenous people to Korea and for the researches and for other things.
Okay, there's a question there at the back, at the end of the row. Yes.
Hi, my name is Catherine Jones and I'm from the University of Iceland. I wondered whether there was a conflict of interest between exploring Arctic sea ice free routes and preventing sea ice melting from global warming.
So I couldn't hear the question.
Could you repeat the question more clearly?
Yes,
please?
yeah, right.
I wondered whether there was a conflict of interest between exploring Arctic sea ice free routes and preventing melting of sea ice in the Arctic from global warming.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's a conflict interest, and then there's any the panacea. I mean, there is the ready-made solution to this issue. That's why we get together and then discuss and then exchange views. So my answer is I know my answer doesn't satisfy you, madam, but so that's the reality faced by us.
So, thank you very much, Minister. Our time is up.
Yeah.
And again, we appreciate highly your effort of being with us.
So we will have another session for the focus on Korea after this. So we have another separate session. So after this, we have we'll have another session,
yes.
the breakout session for the activities of Korea, and then I would like to invite you to this separate session.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yes,
right.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right,
Fantastic.
thank you.